Hello and welcome to Telecom TV. I'm Martin Warwick and we're here at Mobile World Congress 2016 in Barcelona in Spain, and this panel discussion is about a European-based community called Cloud28+. I have three members of the panel here with me who are experts on this and indeed know a great deal about it. Let me introduce them to you. On my right is Alfonso Rios of INDRA Systems. It's a company headquartered in Madrid and with a global presence. We'll talk a little bit more about the company in a moment. I'll leave it at that for now. Next to him is Esmeralda Swartz of Ericsson. Esmeralda, thanks for being here, and also you're a woman on a panel, which is fabulous for a change, believe me. This is a very male-dominated...
I'm glad to be here.
You're very welcome indeed. And last but by no means least is Bertil Hedén of Storegate of Sweden, Stockholm in Sweden. Again, thanks very much for being here. So let's just talk about what we're going to talk about. So Cloud28 is this European-based community and it's aimed at accelerating the adoption of cloud technologies, and incidentally through that, or as part of that, to increase the visibility and the revenue of its members. And that's through the creation of a strong cloud service catalogue with a strong focus on compliance with the European rules on data privacy and security, which are of course very different from other parts of the world, and particularly the United States. Okay? So let's kick off. Esmeralda, I'm going to ask you the first question. Last year, according to research, only 20%, 1 in 5 organisations in Europe used cloud services in the European Union, the 28 member states. Why do you think that's the case? What prevents companies in Europe simply embracing cloud technology?
So I think Europe is obviously unique for the reasons that you started off stating in terms of privacy and locality of data. But I would say that the problem in terms of driving enterprise adoption of cloud in general is a worldwide problem. So I don't think this is unique to Europe, although there are obviously local specific reasons for that. But I think this is why we're here on this as part of Cloud28 and other industry initiatives. What do we need to do as an industry to increase the adoption of cloud technology? And it's both standardization, providing the value-added services that really are important to an enterprise. It's providing the management, the orchestration as part of that catalog. And I think that if you look at where enterprises are focused in moving to worldwide, I think that for the first time we're starting to see enterprise cloud adoption really begin in earnest. And I think that's really being driven by hybrid cloud. They want to have freedom to select their cloud provider and have choice. I always like to say they want to avoid the tyranny of choice as it relates to cloud. So it's management, it's orchestration, it's choice, and it's freedom to be able to choose from the services that they require to really drive that optimal experience that they need for their enterprise.
Thank you. I want to stay with you just briefly. We'll bring in the other two members in a moment, but just at the start of this question, at least, Esmeralda, very recently the European Commission and the US set out a new agreement for the transatlantic data flow after the overturning of the Safe Harbor Agreement of October 2015. What implications do you think this has for the cloud industry in general?
So obviously that's still in progress, but I think it certainly speaks to the importance of having an agreement in place, because no one wants to prevent global commerce, but we need to obviously be very conscious of the requirements on the part of the European Union for privacy and locality of data. And I think that we ended up in a very good spot, particularly as it relates to the Safe Harbor back in October. And I think that's still going to be more developments ongoing, but I think we're at a place where at least there's an agreement on what that will look like.
Okay, let's move on to someone else. Alfonso, we know what the general part of the implications are of this. What about specifically to your company, Systemas?
Well, we have already had the case that some customers has required us to move the provider because the current provider is not covered by the agreement like it is. All the main vendors, they are already working, and it's for sure that it's going to be sorted out very, very quickly. But unfortunately, cloud is always suspicious. It's always under suspicious on general lack of security. So this agreement is delaying a little bit more the go-to cloud in general. It has to be fixed once forever. It will be great. And yeah, some customers are making a lot of questions and are trying to look for closer providers that can grant the security as they want to have. So European, in general, smaller providers are getting some advantage from that.
Thank you. Bertil, the same question to you.
Yeah,
What are the implications as far as your company is concerned?
For Storegate, we have two different business areas. One is for end users in the Swedish market, where we also have the infrastructure, which is also very important for lots of companies like in the health industry and so on. So they're really, really keen about having the infrastructure in the country. Then we also have the other business area called white labeling, where we offer our software to other companies outside in Europe through, for example, the Cloud28 Plus catalogue, where they can install the software and also have all the infrastructure inside the domestic area, so they also can assure the customers that it stays there. It's very important for them today.
Thank you. Moving on then, you are all three of you, all members of Cloud28 Plus. As we said, a European-based community, etc. Why did you, and this is to each one of you in turn, I don't mind who answers first, why did you decide to join this community, which of course was originated by Hewlett Packard Enterprise?
I'll go
for
first.
it, by all means.
So I think it's probably going to be the same response from the rest of the panel, but from our perspective, we're clearly interested in doing what we can to drive adoption of cloud technologies on the part of our customers, and anything that we can do to address the concerns that we've already talked about on this panel, and drive from a collaboration perspective with other partners in that ecosystem that help achieve that is why we're here.
Good. Bertil, did you join for the same reason?
Getting back to the first question, we want to increase that numbers. 1 out of 5 is too low, but must be lots higher. So we have the same reasons.
Thank you. And Alfonso, same again?
Yeah, I will maybe notice well that openness of Cloud28 is a very important value for many of our customers. Most of our customers are big companies.
Yep.
They are afraid of vendor locking in general.
That's the tyranny of choice that we talked about.
Exactly.
Yes.
So to be capable to offer a broad catalog of providers in closer to the customer, they can have the choice, and to a wide catalog of solutions, as open as possible, always granting the quality of services, is a key value for an integrator as INDRA, and our specific branch, Minside, which is fully dedicated to digital business.
Thank you. And this is the next question. Sorry, do you want to answer me?
Yeah, I was just going to add something important that is perhaps subtle but important to highlight. If you look at cloud as an industry, I think that there is certainly a school of thought that says that the cloud market is closed in terms of the vendors that have been selected. And although that's true for public cloud, I think if you look at enterprises, it's private, it's hybrid cloud solutions. And as we've said, very low numbers still today. And I think that there are brand new opportunities for new players to emerge to take on the old guard. And for the reasons that you stated, they want openness. They don't want to recreate the vendor lock-in that has existed in many other industries before it.
We could say as well that from the point of as a provider, Cloud28 is very successful getting followers, getting more and more members. So the capillarity we can get to our offering for all of us is very good. It's a very good way to get channels, to get partners everywhere in Europe.
Well, you've very neatly anticipated my next questions, but I'll carry on. You've answered it before I asked it, which is pretty bright, to say the least of it. But for the other two of you, Bertil, what benefits do you get, does your company get, from being a member of Cloud28 Plus?
to be exposed for the market, for a broader market. I mean, we are a market leader up in the Nordic countries, but we need also to be seen in a bigger perspective.
Okay. Esmeralda, Ericsson's a huge company. What does Ericsson get out of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at what we've been doing with just a lot of the major transformations that are occurring in the industry, whether that's cloud or IoT or 5G, that's clearly important for both. We are absolutely looking at what we can do to drive to ecosystems. And there is certainly a recognition, I think, across the industry, and Ericsson is absolutely focused on this. We need to move away from single vendor to really open ecosystems, and that's going to be the case for cloud. It's going to be the case for Internet of Things, and it's no longer a single provider. You need to be open, you need to create value, and you need to have partners that are contributing applications and services to really drive differentiation to your own customer base.
Thank you. Now, being a member of a club, it confers certain privileges and status on you. It also imposes certain restrictions and responsibilities. So the next question is, what do you, as members of Cloud28 Plus, provide to the Cloud28 community?
Well, we are providing a set of tools called PaaS, Platform as a Service, to build open applications and a lot of contents that can accelerate the go-to-market for the cloud service providers. So this is and methodology for migrating applications to the cloud. We consider this a bottleneck. So with many big customers, they have normally two big problems to be reluctant to go to the cloud. One is cultural problems, but as well the matureness of the technology is not enough. Instead, that every migration is a little bit messy. We are working in that focus, which is one of the most important concerns for our customers.
Anybody doing other things? Bertil, what are you doing?
I think we can provide good experience because we have been providing these cloud services since 2003, even before the cloud was invented. So I think we had lots of giving back to the market.
So you're there first?
Absolutely.
Esmeralda, have you got anything to add to that?
So we started actually working with HP even prior to Ericsson acquiring my company. What we were providing were billing and settlement, so monetization software. If you think about the cloud, it's basically composed of a bundle of services. So you need to be able to both bill for those services to the end user, but then also compensate that ecosystem or the partners that are contributing that to that service offering. So that's purely from a technology perspective, and also the use cases and certainly some of the thought leadership.
Thank you. Now, somebody will be watching, this is going out globally, somebody will be watching this and thinking, I might want to join Cloud28. How would they go ahead and join the community, and what would they get out of it on first joining? I don't know who'd want to talk about that first, but...
So I think the easiest thing to do would just be to go on to the Cloud28 website that has a lot of the information that you would need to look at, and there's a lot of research there. There's a lot of thought leadership that even if you're not interested in joining, this is a topic that's clearly important, and for the European community, absolutely it is. Use it as a research opportunity to look at what is available from the tools. Anything
to add, gentlemen? I think that's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, I mean to join, I guess this is clearly the easiest way. There are different kinds of companies, type of companies that could be interested, so there are several reasons. For a small provider, for an ISV, it will be very clear. It will have a broader market, as we mentioned. Yeah. So for them, will be everything advantages. They will get in touch with partners. If they have a good product, it will be very good. For instance, companies as Minsight in our group INDRA, we as an integrator, we will try to sell their solutions because this is what we want. We want to find the best solution in the market and go to our customers with them. So we'll provide technology capabilities plus commercial capabilities and all the rest of the members as well. So for a small ISV will be great and product oriented. For an integrator as us will be very good because we'll get in contact with providers and with customers and partners. So I guess there are many, depending what kind of company you guys, you will always find a live ecosystem. And I would like to remark that I've been working in several other communities, mainly, let's say, more theoretical or research oriented on the cloud. And the style that HPE is printing on this Cloud28 is very important because it's driven in a commercial, with commercial objective. It is totally different from other cloud communities that are more broadcasting or creating the culture of the cloud. So they are more like in the first stage of the cloud. Cloud28 has very clear objective to create business around. So for companies around can be a key, let's say, community.
Thank you. The last question, which is again to all of you. Chime in if you feel like it. $64,000 question. What's in it in the end for the customers? Ones in the end who are going to be involved in cloud services at the sharp end.
I think that the customers benefit from collaboration amongst different providers and partners. As we said, this is really moving from ecosystems to ecosystems, and I think that's true here as well.
Okay.
It's a good way also to see the different offers that are in the market. You can compare them and you can see.
I think that it actually, you bring up a really important point because I think what's happening with services in general is that customers, because they want choice, they really want to assemble their own service components through a very simple to see portal, and the expectations are very different than what's existed in the past. It's no longer a one-size-fits-all offering, and I think that's an important point to highlight.
Alfonso, the last word goes to you.
Well, I will add to that, I totally agree, and they will get something which is already certified, but they will get services with a quality granted by the main companies in the world, which is, I guess, will be very important. You can compare the best quality and price, and you can have the security that all the main companies are behind of that, granting the services.
Interesting. Let's see what's happening. Just like to say thank you to Alfonso Rios, to Esmeralda Swartz, and to Bertil Hedén. Thank you very much indeed.